much is given, much is expected. You know, we invest a lot in these players to come out and perform to their absolute maximum and give everything they got. I mean, these players are very well resourced. I think they owe it to the university, they owe it to each other, they owe it to the coaching staff, they owe it to the fan base, they owe it to the donor. They owe it to a lot of people to go out and play on game night and practice every day to the absolute max for all the reasons.
What's up, everybody? I was playing the clip. I apologize for the technical difficulties there. We're live. Yeah, a little. I wanted to play that clip. It got a little. All right. I don't know if this is. I feel like I'm getting a lot of feedback, and we're live. I don't know what's going on with this stream, guys. So if I'm kind of hearing a bunch of stuff. There's been crazy stuff happening in my house, so I apologize. I'm gonna bring in. We got Russ. I think we have Russ on the line. Let's get him to the stage just because. Let me see if the audio is working, and I just want to hear from him and his thoughts on this game, because first half was great. Second half just felt like the opposite of what Dan and the staff want, essentially. You know, the whole idea of them bringing in guys who are well-resourced, the idea that they're bringing in guys that are, you know, foot stays on gas, the whole idea, the mantra behind this team and his entire persona is based off of how they played for the entire game. I would say 90% of the game against UMass Lowell, and just the effort. Forget about the score. It looked very half and half. And I don't think any other team in the country really can be perfect right now, just because of the nature of the way college athletics is right now with all the transfer portal stuff. So it's less about you know, the culture of the team and more just about, I feel like, what we kind of deal with on a regular basis just in this sport in general. But let's get Russ in here. I haven't had him on the show before in this type of setting, and I want to hear his thoughts. What's up, buddy?
Thank you very much. How you doing?
Good. Yourself? I
just ran my 20-minute quick post game on Twitter. Obviously, nobody was on today because of the type of game. We had just a few regulars, but I do want to plug my show tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Yeah, definitely.
At Russ Ramblin'. Follow me at Russ Ramblin', I think it is. My Twitter space. I'm going to be interviewing Coach Calhoun, Jim Calhoun, along with Dom Amore, talking about his book, More Than a Game. And
that QR code I just put up, Russ, is if you're watching that, you're listening to this, go to the Spaces tomorrow with Russ. If you click on that QR code, it'll take you to a link to buy the book. So we've been pushing that since they came on our show, and I have my copy literally sitting next to me. So,
Mark, if you could be so kind tomorrow, it's to get on there and put it on the dashboard for me. I'm technologically challenged.
I'll try my best, man.
I'm technologically challenged. I really appreciate it. We want to push the book. I will tell you that Coach Cullen was very gracious in my seeing him last Monday, actually at Gamble for the opener. That's when I talked to Dom and got Dom's number and arranged for the interview. The point being is that he is wonderful to do that at his age, to spend the time, but also we're promoting his book, and he wants to sell the book, and he wants to be known for the legacy he built at UConn, not so much the X's and O's, but more the personalities, the relationships he built, and being able to help other people. I read the book from start to finish. It's a great book, a lot of good stuff in there, and I have some good questions for him based on some of the things I know. So it'll be a good interview. And the best thing about it, Mark, for those of you that will join us tomorrow, is around 11 at the end, towards the end of it, the last part of it, we're going to take questions from the audience. So to me, that's a good thing. And hopefully people will stay on and ask Coach Cullen anything they want. He's got the gift of gab, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Actually, I've been not nervous. I'm really not nervous because I think he'll put me at ease. And Dom is a really nice guy. I saw Dom Saturday going into the football game against Duke, which was one of the best games I've ever seen. I mean, and I've gone to games I'm 54, Mark, and I've gone to football games. I'm a Giant fan, which I'm happy with what happened today, by the way. But I'm a Giant fan, and I will tell you that was one of the best games ever. And Jim Moore is a great coach. But not to deviate from you want me to give you some thoughts of tonight is very simply put, the team played well the first half. They took care of business, and then they just waited for the clock to end in the second half. They just, you know what I mean? It's one of those games where don't put too much stock in the second half, put stock in the first half, that they took care of business in the first half, took the lead, never looked back. Columbia is a well-coached team, very well-coached team, just like New Haven was a very well-coached team. In fact, New Haven went on the road tonight and beat UMass Lowell on the road. They were 10-point
As they
under.
should. That UMass Lowell team was very disjointed. So
they beat him outright on the road. Big win for New Haven. Congrats on their first Division I win. They're now 1-3. They were talking about it that the teams are like playing each other. It's like a round robin here with these teams: UMass Lowell, UConn, Columbia, New Haven. But Mark, until we get Mullins and Furphy, then we'll see the complete team. I was trying to tell them tonight on my other space, on the other thing, the other show, that this team will mirror the 2014 more so than the 23 team when it's all said and done.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
Why do you say that?
Okay, because I think Mullins is a special player. Mullins is better than McNeely as far as shooting goes, offense goes. Okay, so that's the first thing. So now that makes solo ball more dangerous. Then look at the three big-headed monster tonight. They all carried all almost 20 points. I mean, they're consistent. And Jalen Stewart's gotten better, and Ross has gotten better. Those two guys. So, and the guard position actually is the one question mark I still have a little bit, a tiny bit with Silas and with Malachi, because I don't think they're going to ever get to Tristan Newton's level. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But that's the one spot. I do think the center position is solid, better than people are giving them credit for. Uribe is going to be very good, very good. He's already playing well. You saw the play he made tonight. He got hammered, and he still made the basket. And then Terrace Reed he's a beast. And I saw him play at Michigan. I'm like, wow, this was a great catch last year, and he's just developed into a top-notch NBA player, and he'll be going to the league. So I know I said a lot. I'll come up for air. Sorry, Mark.
No, you're fine. Like,
but yeah,
I appreciate that.
That's why I think they're going to be great, and I think Coach Hurley learned from last year what the emphasis needed to be on. They had a much better offseason than they had last year. This team's much better than last year's team. Let's get that right off the bat, right? The question is, when we try to compare teams, what we have to look at sometimes is what the end result's going to be after the whole season, right? So,
sure.
Point being, a lot of the teams that we're going to play, the St. John's, the Kansases, even Saturday, I think BYU is more of a quiz than it's a test. I think BYU is a quiz more than a test. Why? First of all, we're playing well right now. Even though we're not at full strength, the game's going to be played in Storrs North. Okay, it's a home game for us, right? And as far as the fans go, it's like a home game. So I think that's going to help. So I think it's a quiz, not a test. The first test will come at Kansas, in my humble opinion.
And I'm with you there.
I truly believe it. I'll tell you what gets me confident, Mark. It's the coaching staff. I think we have the best coaching staff in America. Go ahead.
But Russ, I don't disagree really with most of what you said. But what I will tell you is that just like you, I think I'm about 10 years younger than you. You said you were 54, so I just turned 44. I think this team, I think you're the first person that I've ever heard say they would mirror the 24 team, which I don't see, because that 24 team, because you mentioned,
he used the words bulletproof.
I know, and let me finish. Like the idea is, you mentioned the name Tristan Newton. Tristan Newton is one of the most underrated college basketball players of the last 20 years. He is what he was able to do in his short time at UConn is almost unparalleled. So, and then you add a guy like Cam Spencer, who had an even shorter tenure to the mix where he was unstoppable. And then you have the Donovan Klingons and you have the others that kind of came with that. I don't think this team is going to even come close to the 24 team. I think just because of the fact that it was the most dominant offensive team since Duke of 99 that didn't even win the national championship. We know who did. And as far as like offensive efficiency, you mentioned bulletproof. Like, I don't think this team can get to that level to be the number 1 offense and the number 4 defense in the country. That'd be something special. And they could still win the national championship without being at that level. And I don't think we're going to really see that because I love Terrace. I love Eric. They're not going to come close to what Donovan was or what he did. And then when you add Mullins into the mix, if Braylon started not on the injured list, so to speak, right? If he started this season, because he is the most exciting player that came into this year that I wanted to see play. And that's the most disappointing part of this season is that he isn't healthy to start it because he's going to have to work his way into this rotation the same way Liam had that long stretch. Is he a better shooter than Liam? Yes. Does he have some strengths that Liam doesn't have? Sure. But also he's not going to have the same pressure that Liam had last year, essentially to be the 1A option once he's healthy. So he's got that luxury. So I will say that while I agree with you that this team, that no one should be concerned. What still bothers me, and I put this in the notes, and I guarantee this is something the staff is talking about, is defense at certain levels is still an issue. Solo's a great example. I love Solo ball. And you can't take him off the floor because he's such a good scorer, but he gets beat off the dribble still constantly. The guys still can get bullied down low by teams like Columbia and, to a certain extent, New Haven. And that's an issue. Like you're going to go play BYU that has Kobe Keita, who's 6'8", 240, and you got AJ DeBonsa. These guys are grown men, Richie Saunders. It's not that I think BYU is going to beat them, but you're going to see some things that teams are going to start to look at film and attack them. St. John's the same thing. That's the only thing that frustrates me. The last thing I'll say is the guard play has been solid. Like Silas came in to this team as an offensive guy that is going to lead them. I think he had 9 assists tonight. I think he only had 2 turnovers. I think Malachi is a huge upgrade from backup point guard. And then even if you throw Millender in there, to me, Millender's, if you had to start him, maybe we have a problem. But if the fact that he's your 3rd point guard, it's still probably one of the deeper point guard rosters in the country. So I think my bigger issue is the consistency of the wings minus Braylon. I don't think Jacob's going to play much this year. I love him. I think he's going to be a great prospect for us in the future. So I wouldn't even worry about him. But it's the Mullins. It's Terrace. Terrace has been phenomenal. It's like he hasn't missed a beat. But yeah, I think it's going to be I think everyone's kind of in the same place. The only team that I think has the edge, and it's the reason why everyone has them as a 1 or 2 right now, is Purdue, because they have 80% of their team back. And so Matt Painter can essentially go, he knows what he's getting from his 2 All-Americans and the guys that came back. Whereas Dan has his staple guys, like he has Alex, he has Terrace, he has Solo, but he's still kind of wondering who's stepping up. Is it Jay Ross? Is it Jay Stu? I thought Jay Ross played better than Jay Stu tonight, just from a totality, but he did foul out. So it's kind of it's push-pull with those 2. So, you know what I mean? It's still kind of up in the air. I'm not really sure what we're getting from these guys. So, but that's the luxury of this UConn team. That's why I relate them more to the 22-23 team, because that team went 11 deep. You had a guy like Naheem Alim that was a safety valve off the bench that could score. You still had Hawk, you still had Jackson. So I don't see the 24 parallel.
The difference, yeah. No, I understand. The thing about the 23 team, though, that we failed to realize is they went through a slump in the January.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
And
1,000% remember it.
And I think if you look at the team, like our slump last year, when was it? It was the beginning of the year in Hawaii. The point being is that if we don't do that kind of slump again, which we probably won't, I think what I'm getting at is the coach early has learned from that slump that you want to avoid the slumps. And that was a slump. That was a bad slump in 23, which we recovered from, no doubt. But
sure,
you don't want to lose those games after the first of the year the way they did. You know what I mean? Also, they didn't win the Big East tournament either that year. and they still won the national title. That 24, they won the Big East, and they won everything, right?
Right.
So this season, I just think the maturity and the defensive intensity that they're going to put up is going to be better. They're going to be improved from last year's team with a lot of experience, believe it or not. And I do think from that angle, that will get us, you know what, maybe I'm exaggerating to get us up to 24 based on what you mentioned about Klingon. Obviously, Taras and Rebay do not compete with, but Taras and Rebay are right there with Sonogo, with Klingon and Sam. Like Samson, I think those two guys we have now, in my humble opinion, are better than Samson, but they're not as good as Klingon. So we have the 2 and 3. If you had to rank the positions, we have like number 2 and number 3, Taras, and then the kid. And then if you had Samson, really never was that big center, that dominant defensive center. Whereas I've seen Rebate block shots. Point being, we're gonna be okay, and
Oh yeah.
we're gonna be okay, right?
Yeah.
We agree that we have a chance for the Final Four, definitely.
Oh God, yeah.
We have to stay healthy still, even though we have a lot of depth. We got to stay healthy because we drop off. Period. I don't care what anybody says.
Does the fouling have any? Do you have any issues with or like do you worry about this team fouling too much? Because even though we do have depth, I look at this game as a great example. They didn't call a foul on UConn for the first 12 minutes of the first half. They didn't have UConn. I don't think was in the bonus. They didn't have what's his name? What's her name? Columbia wasn't in the bonus in the entire first half. So they played a really clean first half. Now, a part of that I just wonder, like, sometimes I joked around. It's like James Breeding kind of woke up in the second half and was like, oh, I'm doing a UConn game. Oh shit. I guess I should call a bunch of fouls. Part of that to me, and I do want to ask if I do get a chance to jump on the stream tomorrow at 11 to talk to Coach Calhoun, the one question I will ask him is, does a team's proclivity for fouls, does that give them a reputation with officials? Because if we all know, great example. You remember when Virginia had Tony Bennett? I know this isn't that long ago, but they played that pack line defense that everyone loved, and it was ugly offense, but beautiful defense. And they never get called for fouls. Same thing with a team like Houston, Purdue. Like, those teams get this reputation for we never foul. Now, we know they do. Like, you can see it. Like, Houston basically commits assault on a regular basis, and they just don't call fouls on them. So I'm curious about that kind of reputation. Is it more about Dan's relationship with the officials, or is it just that his teams do hack too much?
I think if you're asking the right person tomorrow, definitely.
Yeah, because he has the same mentality, I think, as Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had to answer that question, do you think that's more reputation, or do you think that's truly just like, hey man, like, you just got to stop using your hands?
I think it's a combination of both. I think there's no doubt about it that it's a combination. It's a depend question,
right?
Because the guy he's going up against may be the similar type of coach, if you know what I mean, and that would be
sure.
That would be Rick Pitino, for example. But I think it's a good question, and I think it's something you would definitely ask Coach Calhoun. I think Hurley's toned back his act a little bit so far this year. I could see it already. I think he's.
He said at the end of the game. Did you see? I don't know if you saw it. So, so he used his coach's challenge with 30 seconds left. They're up 25 points. We hope you didn't. I thought you fell there for a second.
No, so my phone went down. I had it cleaned up here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he used his coach's challenge, and I don't think they won the challenge. And James Breeding walked over to him to explain, and he was sitting on the bench, and he just went, "I'm just really frustrated with my team." And James they just laughed. They had a laugh about it. So, like, I think you're right. I think that there's. I had Aaron Torres on the podcast earlier this afternoon for a BYU preview, and what he said was, he was just like, I think, as funny as it sounds, Dan has calmed down his act, a little bit, and we agreed. And I also used this example. It's kind of like when, even though you have this burning fire inside of you, he's picking and choosing the moments that he needs to kind of explode, like he did with the team when they were up 70-25 against UMass Lowell, and covered his mouth and did all that stuff because he could see the team kind of giving in. I'm curious where the line is with that, because Dan tonight, I feel like there were a few opportunities in the second half where he could have done that, but maybe he's picking and choosing those where he could go, you know what? I'm going to save this for no one can see it. I'm going to save it for the locker room. When we're going to win this game, when it's over, they're going to know what's up.
Well, he's giving them something to get, he's giving the coach a chance to get him ready now for BYU that they didn't play a perfect game, 2 good halves, right? So to me, that's good because now, the games are spread out enough, Monday to Saturday with, you're only going to Boston. To me, I think they're going to be ready to play. I think they've always been ready to play. We're not playing in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We're playing in the contiguous United States. We're playing Stores North, if you will, Boston. It's going to be a huge UConn crowd. And we're getting our first little quiz of the year. And I asked the guys on my other thing before I came on with you, Mark, and I appreciate the invitation. I love this, actually. I love talking Husky basketball any day, all day. I do think that the UConn will be a bigger favorite than they thought. They thought UConn would only be favored by like 4 or 5 points against BYU. And I said, no, it's going to be closer to 10. So we kind of compromised. We figured it'd be 7. What's your take on the game? I mean, where does Vegas, I mean, we're 3 and they're 7, right? So you have
I think it'll be a
two top 10 teams.
I'm usually pretty good at this. I would say they're going to take into consideration that even though it's neutral site, it is closer to home. They're also going to take into consideration that BYU with their very deep pockets is probably going to bring some people themselves. So it'll mirror kind of what the Illinois situation was at TD Bank Garden or Stores North, as you're calling it, in the Elite Eight a couple years ago. So there will be they're going to be quite a decent amount of BYU fans. However, I do think that 10 is way too high. 3 is way too big.
Well, they said 4. They said 4.5.
I think it's going to be around 7, 7.5. And then I think you're going to see that fluctuate. I think people will probably throw some money on BYU and it'll probably drop. I think it'll get closer to 4 than it'll get to 10, but I think it'll start at 7.5.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that just. I
don't listen. I would be honest.
It doesn't affect us, but it's just,
it doesn't affect us. I think it's a fun curiosity, and knowing who I am as a person, knowing the circles I run in. One of our investors is actually a professional gambler, so we definitely talk that around that realm quite a bit.
Tell them the way up to 9.5 on Saturday. I think we're going to win by 10 or more points. I'm very confident in this group. The reason I'm confident is they've played together, most of them. I mean, who did we lose? We lost Samson. We lost Diarra. We have most of our guys back. We made it to this.
These are big losses, though, Ramblin'. Like I have to stop you there. I mean, I know we lost them. I know that the production itself may not be, what you're, like it's not like you lost Donovan Klingon and Adama Sanogo, but you lost 2 high-level seniors. By the way, Samson's the winningest player in UConn history. Alex will probably pass that this year. But I think losing Haas in particular is a tougher blow because he's a warrior. He's a guy, especially when you think about what this coaching staff wants. They don't listen. This coaching staff would be happy with 10 guys who lay it all on the line, who started as 3 stars and have worked their asses off and are like all seniors and really kind of demonstrated a level of competency that they could compete at a high level. They're very blessed to be at UConn so that they can get the type of players that they want and still have the talent that can compete for national championships. And I'm not saying like we're, a mid-major, but the mentality is still there. I mean, think about where Dan started coaching. I mean, look at those. I read his book, like the idea that there was more pressure for him, and I agree with this, at a mid-major at a 1-bid school than being in the Final Four because you're done. Like if you don't make the tournament, that's your season. Like you're over. So I just think they all have that mentality between Kamani, between Dan, Jersey City, between Luke, and like all of their mentalities meld. Now you got Mike Nardi, a guy that was great with Villanova, and Jay Wright. So I just think that they have. To your point, I do think that they do have a team that is really tough-minded, and they need to be reminded that they can't just turn it on like flipping a switch. This isn't the NBA. They need to be ready to go every game, and I hope they are this weekend. I think there's enough time to get them ready, obviously, but it does worry me that they have these kind of like they had them last year too. These little lulls. Better team this year, more talented,
When you
deeper.
say lull, yeah, when you say lull, yeah, I mean, I think the first game out of the box they didn't have Taras, so that was let's be fair about that game.
True.
But it was against a team going in their first Division One game, so it was a very weak opponent, if you will. But they still didn't have their full strength. I think as they get everybody back and healthy and their full strength, including Mullins, I keep going back to because I think Mullins might wind up being that X factor, that's consistent shooter that they really are looking for too. Not that Solo Ball hasn't looked great. I mean, he's looked fantastic, but I do think Mullins will be. Here's where Mullins will be better than he'll be better than McNeely. That would be my prediction I would make to you right now. After seeing him practice healthy, I would say Mullins is better than McNeely was last year. That Mullins will have a better year. Mullins is hurt at the beginning. McNeely got hurt during the year. I think at the end of the season, we'll see. We'll compare stats. I think Mullins will have a better season than McNeely will have. And by the way, that doesn't mean Mullins will go to the NBA next year either. We don't know. Maybe he's not mature enough. Maybe he wants to come back for another year, depending on how we do. But as far as what I see, what I could tell with the shooting, he and the offense, he's phenomenal. Furphy, I know you said is more of a project. We'll see how that happens. He's played in international basketball. But
he
again,
but when you look
ahead.
at Furphy, like I'm not gonna split hairs on Braylon Mullins because first off, we haven't even seen him play a live game. He's only played one exhibition game and then he was hurt. So to compare him to what Liam did, a kid that
I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's like comparing a AAA guy to a guy that hit 30 home runs for the Yankees. It's like, well, when we see it, I'm right there with you. I'll show my age. What did Ronald Reagan say? Trust but verify. Like I trust that Braylon's going to be really good, we need to verify whether he's the
show on the. It needs to come out when he plays. But I think he'll be back sooner than we think too. We'll see if he comes back in early.
I got a quick note on that. I won't say who. Let's just say that I have. Let's just say I have a very close inside source that says we will see him faster than the 6 weeks. But I also cautioned that same person and said that may be true, but we are living in 2025 and how they are very. They tend to, and when I say they, I mean the people, not necessarily Dan and the staff, but the people that are around the support staff tend to baby the injuries further because they have to think about, well, it's not just for this season, it's for career. So but as far as like health wise, if it is a full 6 weeks, then they are making sure that he is good to go and he doesn't have any setbacks. But I do think, but again, I'm all. What I will say is, I think what's the saving grace for him is that he can come in just like Steph Castle did and not be the guy and just fit in and play a role. And Liam didn't have that advantage. They were like, we kind of fucked up on this roster construction. Can you save our season? And he tried his best and he just couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not sure how he's doing in the NBA right now. Do you have a result of that?
I know that he hadn't been playing a bunch. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up in my hometown here or adopted hometown in Greensboro in the G League for a little while, so he gets some run. But that Hornets team is surprisingly fun to watch and good because you got Con Knipple, you got the kid Brandon Miller who played at Bama, you got some other kind of like Colin Sexton who played at Alabama a couple years back. It's a bunch of and Ryan Kalkbrenner, who started at Creighton for 100 years. He starts for them, and he's having a great year. I think it's a really cool mix of young players, the youngest team in the league. So they have plans for him, but it wouldn't. That just happens. Like if you're not getting in that rotation and you're a rookie, and they have this league that you can go to, you're still getting your $2 million a year, but you can go actually play against other pros and get your run in. They may do that. And if that happens, I'll definitely drive 10 minutes to go see him.
There you go. Yeah, right. You're right there. Well, we wish him well, obviously. I mean, I wish he came back for a second season. I think he needed it personally. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. You do what you want. It's a free world. I think the mother wanted him to go pro and the father wanted him to stay at UConn. Just so you know.
Talking about Liam?
Yeah.
I don't know if his dad's in the picture, bro. Like that's not even like a real thing. Like his mom is the
Yeah,
main
she was the
driver of
one.
it.
Yeah, pushing him. For
But I mean, I also feel like too. It's like Liam himself. Like they're a very affluent family. I don't think it had anything to do with like they needed money or need to go to the like.
No,
that's
no,
just,
no, no. I didn't say that. I just said I
but
think.
I'm saying like, but I don't think it's really about. I think the prevailing theme is if you're a first round pick and they guarantee you that, you go.
Yeah.
Because it's guaranteed money. You get 4 years. There's a 5th year option, team option. It's the ones that you're kind of unsure on. Like if Alex went, he's probably a 2nd round pick. You know what I mean? Like those are the ones that.
Yeah, I think so far the early returns on him are a great move coming back. Obviously for us at UConn, and he's gotten better and he seems to be stronger and better and put on some weight and he seems to be doing great this year. And Taris
shooting it well.
You know, when's the last time we had 3 preseason Big East selections first team? I don't know. I'm asking you. Do you have that?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
It's got to be. It's got to be a long time. It's got to be.
But you know what? The funny thing is you can maybe Jim would know that when you talk to him tomorrow. But I don't even know if he ever had 3 preseason all Big East, and mostly because it's not about UConn. The league itself was stronger, so there were great players on every roster. And that's even though obviously the brand of my company, which is Big East Energy, like I love Big East basketball. I'm going to root for it no matter what iteration it turns into. Even if UConn decides that hey, we're going to join the ACC or the Big 12 at some point because our football team is so good, Big East will always have some pull for me regardless. And I don't know, man. Like I don't think it has ever mattered like to UConn whether we've had all Big East selections preseason. It's to me, it's always about
I was only mentioning it because I've never seen that, and
me either.
My opinion of those 3 players is as strong as the preseason prognosticators. My point is that's a three-headed monster there, and that 3-headed monster is pretty strong in my opinion. It's potentially 3 first-round picks next year in the NBA.
Talking about Taris, Alex, and Solo, correct?
Yeah.
I think Solo's got a lot of work to do if he wants to be a first-round pick.
All right. Well, we're good.
Because I'll tell you what,
this is what makes talk television great.
But if you
I think his defense improved tremendously. He's a strong kid. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like, listen, he's stronger than I think it's funny. Like, for a guy that strong, and a guy that long, he has a 6'10" wingspan, on a 6'4" body.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons why he's 1,000% going to get drafted early. But as far as like the ROI of a first round pick, why he needs to improve in certain areas, and he did a little bit of it tonight and certainly did some of it against UMass Lowell. Talked about it on my show. He is a really good 2-level scorer. He's not a great 3-level scorer, and he showed some of it today. The little teardrops around curls. Donnie Marshall said this. Sometimes I don't agree with anything Donnie Marshall says on a broadcast, but I found myself saying, you know what? I said this on my show. Just him hitting a mid-range jump shot once in a while. I know we're not in 1984 anymore, but just once or twice automatically starts to make guys come out on you even further. And then when you get to the hoop, they don't know what you're going to do because you have that 3-level scorer mentality. And then on defense, he just needs to move his feet more, man. As athletic as he is, like, he can't get beat off the dribble by a guy from Columbia that's going to be, doing my, tax return next year because he's so good with money. Like, those guys in Columbia aren't going to be NBA players. There's 2 guys on that team that had good talent. Outside of that, those dudes are the financial wizards of the world, or they're going to, create apps and do all kinds of fun stuff that are above my pay grade. But you can't. But if you let those guys score on you, what is Florida going to do to you? What is BYU going to do to you? Those are habits. That's not just something like, oh, I'll just play defense today. Defense is an everyday thing.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Well,
like shoot. Like what's the term? Defense travels.
That's
defense
true.
travels. Shoot. You can have a shooting slump any day, but your defense, that's got to be your.
So
your
out
calling.
of curiosity, and I don't know if I could check while I'm on with you. It'll throw off my phone or not.
No, go ahead.
I don't want to check anything, but I'm curious what BYU's average points are or Ken Palm ratings are going right now. If they're,
I'll look
I
it
know
up right now.
they've probably only played a couple games, so
Yeah, they're in the same
these
boat
are
as
like
we are.
very small samples. It's like
These are small samples, but the one thing
very
I will tell you about BYU is, and this is the reason why I had Aaron Torres on, because he's actually been out there. He's been to practice. He's had conversations with their coach. He's interviewed AJ DeBonsa. He basically said the two guys that UConn really can be concerned about is Robert Wright, who played at Baylor, and who was on Liam and Cooper Flagg's team at Montverde.
Oh boy.
And he's a shorter guard, but he's very good scorer. And then AJ, and what he's going to potentially do to them from a foul perspective. Because if you put Jay Stu on him or Jay Ross, you might as well give up 9 fouls, because that's essentially what they're looking at. And then if you try to put Terrace on him, what happens then? Because this team, BYU, is a really good scoring team. They have good athletes. Richie Saunders was the man last year. He's now their third player. So they're a good team.
Right.
I don't know. They're 15, 16 in Ken Palm. Right now, offensively, they're 10th. Defensively, they're in the top 50. They're 40th. So, yeah, defensively, that's good. That's not great. That's not elite. No team has ever won a national championship outside the top 30 in defensive efficiency in Ken Palm. So, just use that as a high watermark. But it is early. I just think it's one of those games because it's neutral. You got to go with who has more of the, not necessarily star power, but it's kind of like one of those decisions. If you're a coaching staff, do you let AJ DeBonsa kind of do his thing and then you shut down everybody else, or you that's something that Dan has done in the past? Let him kind of be a one-man show, be a volume shooter. That could be the deal. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a really good. You said quiz. I do think it's going to be a test because athleticism wise, you're playing guys here, and now you're playing guys off the charts. So
historically though, BYU, I mean, when's the last time they made a run in a tournament or something?
Dude,
I'm
they were
talking
a
about
Sweet 16 team last year. Talking about now, like this team now is good. Like, and they have the number 4 pick in the draft, somewhere in that range.
In the recruit, yeah.
No, I'm talking about right now. Like AJ DeBonsa is, if the NBA draft was today, he'd be either the first or second pick in the draft.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and Rob Wright is a
Flag.
top 30. He's not Cooper Flag, but he's more like a what's a good comp for him? I would say he's definitely more of the ilk of like a Kevin Durant.
Okay. Wow.
6'9", can pull from anywhere.
It's going to be a challenge then to guard him.
Oh my God!
Obviously, it's not going to take every shot. And
damn, he might.
Who's our defensive stopper? Like, who's our?
You're gonna put Jay Stu on him at first.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to do anything to him, but it's like I said, that's the test. It's not. This isn't about BYU stuff.
I mean, I hope I'm right. I mean, I think I'm still going to be confident, but I mean,
I think you have every.
They
right
might
to be
get
confident.
a wake up call. You never know. I mean, the wake up call meaning they might not be ready, but I think they are.
I think they're going to be ready. I just giving you a heads up that this BYU team is a hell of a lot more athletic than traditional BYU teams that are, a bunch of really good Mormon guys that are, Jimmer Fredette's. This is not the Jimmer Fredette days anymore. This is the new age that BYU's been planning NIL and collectives, and they've got a lot.
They're ready.
They've got a St. John's Mike Rispoli type out there that is absolutely right? Funneling them with a ton of money. So they paid the top 3. AJ, Rob, and Richie, and then strategically placed like they have their version of.
This is a bigger test than you.
It's 1,000% a bigger test.
You told me that this is a bigger test. This is a bigger quiz than a surprise quiz. It's more of a. I would say it's more of a.
It's more of a midterm. It's a first semester, like the first big test of the year. It's not gonna change your grade. You're not gonna like fail school.
I still think we're gonna be favored, but I think based on what our conversation goes now, I would have to retract and say it'll probably be 5 points, but UConn by 5 points that at most, based on the way you're rating the other team. the offensive players on the other team. So it'll be a challenge to stop them. It'll see if our defense has really gotten better from last season to this season. That'll be an interesting number to watch. I think we got to hold them under 60, 65, and we got to score in the 70s. I think we don't want to play this game in the 80s and 90s. We want to be in the 60s and 70s. But it's definitely going to be a bigger game than I was giving it credit to.
All right, Russ. I think I'm going to end the stream just because we got.
Okay.
I'm gonna, we got 40 minutes in, and I want to head down and make sure my wife is not burned down the house with the children running around, and we're ready to rock. So, I appreciate you jumping on. We had quite a few people on the stream. Not as much interaction in the chat, but still, I mean, got over 200 people paying attention. So
really,
good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I hope they come on tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Spaces at Ramblin' Russ. I just go on, look at Mark's follows, and you'll see the thing on Mark's on your thing where to get to the link to listen to the interview, because Coach Calhoun deserves our attention because he's a legend. So
absolutely.
And again, there'll be a Q&A after. We'll take as many questions as we can for as long as we can, as long as Coach Calhoun wants to go for. So thank you again for having me. Let's go Huskies, and appreciate the time spent, Mark, as always. Thank you.
All right, Russ, take it easy, buddy. That's Ramblin' Russ. We're going to end the stream. I'm just going to answer a couple questions here in the chat. Was it this one right here? It's November 28th at the Garden. That's gonna be close, man. I don't know if he'll be ready for that. I don't know if Braylon will be, but we'll see. It's possible. We hope. I really want to see him play, and I would be pretty cool if that was his first game back in the Garden. So we'll see on that. Wes, yeah, I mean, I think we're ready. Like that. Don't get it wrong. Russ is 1,000% right. Like this team is definitely ready to rock. They have the whole week to prepare for it. I think maybe they were looking ahead tonight. We didn't really talk about that on the stream. That could be part of it. And hopefully Dan is hammering that home that you can't look ahead. So go check that out. There's the link has been up the entire show to Coach Calhoun's book here. So if you can take a picture of that, QR code it, it'll send you to, I don't know if it's an Amazon link or another link to pay for the book, More Than a Game. Go check out Ramblin' Russ's Spaces tomorrow. I'll shoot out the link tomorrow morning, but I believe it's also on Big East Energy's Twitter that we put it out there that he's gonna be on. I don't know. We'll probably pin that tweet so people can see it. And then last one, yeah, Jennifer. I think Jen and Steve. Yeah, I think it would be nice, but hey, life's not fair. We gotta go into it and attack the best way we can. So go Huskies. Solid win. I think if you're a coach, you're not satisfied tonight, but if you're a fan, like all of us are, just enjoy the win. 3-0. We're on to BYU. I wish I was going. If you're going to Boston, make sure if you see Big Larry, tell him I said what's up. Or anybody else, really appreciate you guys. This has been another Hoops Cat Pod. We appreciate all of those who came on. See you next time.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah. UConn, baby.